So here's a quick guide to data chart types, and this is by a CRM tool called HubSpot. Okay, and I found this guide so precise that I directly picked it up and thought of sharing it with all our students. So what chart do we use? Generally, as FP&A professionals, you will end up using maximum 3 charts, right? So one is your bar chart, your pie chart, and line chart. And in rare occasions, you will use these charts as well, which is area, scatter plot, bubble chart, and heat map. But in 90% of your 90% of the job will be done with these 3 charts: bar chart, pie chart, and line chart. So let's look at all these chart types a little bit more in detail. Starting with bar chart. So bar charts are very versatile. So they can give you different types of utility. You can compare it. You can compare different times as well, like January, February, March. Here we can compare different periods as well. Okay, chronological data as well. And you can see where the quantity is high, where the quantity is low. So that is very much possible. This is a vertical bar chart. And a horizontal bar chart can also facilitate a lot of smart comparisons. Here we can see example that it's content published by category. So here we know that if I was preparing this, I would have actually arranged it in a descending order and shown that thought leadership is my best performing content piece, followed by educational information, followed by entertainment. So a horizontal bar chart is very effective in facilitating comparisons between the 2 or 3 categories that you want to suggest. Now there are other variations of bar chart as well. It's called stacked bar chart. A stacked bar chart is where there are multiple elements and you want to compare those elements over a period of time. Like for example, here it says monthly traffic by source. I have my 3 different traffic sources: email marketing, organic search, and paid search. And all these are represented here. You can see that in Jan, my paid search was much better. In February, my email marketing was much better. So you can also do these kind of different comparisons. A stacked bar chart is giving you quantitative comparison and also over a period of time with multiple elements, with multiple categories. Now there is another variation of the bar chart which is called a 100% stacked bar chart, where your whole comparison is irrelevant. From month to month, you're only comparing a whole, let's say 100. Let's say I'm comparing percentages. Let's say I'm comparing, it will be 100% in every month. Jan will be 100%, February will be 100%, March will be 100%. But within this 100%, I want to understand the breakdown. So thought leadership, let's say, is 30%, but in February, it increases to 60%. I'm just giving you an example. So this is how I will be able to find out as to part to whole comparison. How is it doing over a period of time? And my whole is irrelevant here. I want to understand how my individual parts in the whole are doing over a period of time. So that's why you can use a 100% stacked bar chart. Now, some do's and don'ts about bar chart, and these are very self-explanatory. You can go through them yourself. When to use, how thick it should be, what color to use, not use confusing colors. All of that is given here, so you can read through it yourself. This is a very self-explanatory thing. So the next example is pie chart. So pie charts are also used to do sectoral comparisons, multiple comparisons, multiple element comparisons. And a standard usage of a pie chart in FP&A would be market sector comparison. Market share comparison, where we say that we own 12% of the market share or 18% of the market share. So that is where pie chart becomes very, very important. The variation in a pie chart is donut pie chart, which is my personal favorite. It gives much more clearer picture than the standard pie chart. You can use a space to put some logo or some message or whatever you want to do. So donut pie chart is my personal favorite. You can use any of the ones which you like. Again, some do's and don'ts about pie charts. See, a pie chart will be effective only if there are 5 to 6 subcategories. But if there are like 25 different categories, you won't be able to find out anything from it. You won't be able to understand anything as to what each element is trying to say, what each percentage is trying to say. Then maybe pie chart is not the best. If there are about 5 to 6 items, then a pie chart gives you the right message to understand what is up, what is down, what is high, what is low. Then again, if you want to compare part to whole, then maybe your stacked bar chart is a much more better comparison. If you want to just compare, like I'm comparing the blue with blue here, orange with orange, right? So if you want to do these kind of comparisons, then if you put 2 pie charts together, you won't be able to understand anything. But if you put 2 stacked bar charts together, then it's a better way to compare. And there are some more tips, do's and don'ts as to what to use, when to use. You can go through them. Next was line chart. Line chart is the best when it comes to time series comparison. So when you want to show a certain trend, when you want to show a certain development over a period of time, let's say a stock market price, let's say profitability over a period of time, let's say sales over a period of time, line chart is the best when it comes to that information. Again, line chart is effective only if there are about 3 or 4 elements that you want to show comparison. If there are like 20 different lines, the audience won't be able to make out as to which line is going where, and they'll get confused. So it's better better that if you use line chart only if there are about 3 to 4 variables and not more than that. And again, some do's and don'ts which are self-explanatory. Next comes area chart. Area chart not only represents the time series relationship, but it also depicts the quantity, depicts the volume of a certain element, a certain parameter. In this case, you will see that our organic search is doing at what quantity, referrals are doing at this quantity, social media is doing at this quantity, right? So it will give you that comparison over a period of time as well. Stacked area chart. Again, stacked area chart is very good to compare, and understand where the movement is happening. Like for example, in February, you will see that your organic search, your referrals has been much higher in quantity compared to the other months. So with these movements, you will be able to understand much better as well. Again, 100% stacked area chart where the whole is irrelevant, but I want to see my individual comparisons, how the movement is happening. And we are seeing that over a period of time from Jan to March, my organic search did very well. And then it started fading a little bit in April. So you can find these kind of trends as well through a 100% stacked area chart. Again, some do's and don'ts about area charts, what to use, when to use. If there are multiple variables that you're using, then it's better to use a little bit of transparency so that they are able to see the area of the element as well. Then there are scatter plots. So scatter plot always helps you understand a certain element, the concentration of certain element, where a certain cluster is getting concentrated. For example, here we have revenue by product family, and we have family number 1, which is in the range of $0 to $10 million, 0 to 10 units sold, and the sales is on an average, up to $8 million, right? $0 to $8 million. So this cluster is concentrated here. And our family 2 is in the range of 20 to 40 units sold, and sales go up to from 4 to 14 million. So this is where concentration of family number 2 is. So when you want to find out a certain density, a certain concentration, a certain cluster, this revenue by product family or this scatter plot is a better chart to use. Again, some do's and don'ts about scatter plots. If you are using if the density, if there are only few elements, then the scatter plot will not give you the right information. If you want to show the density of certain hundreds of products, then I think scatter plot is a much better chart to use. Then comes bubble chart. Now bubble chart, again, there are 2 variations. You can use it as in a X and Y axis where you have your revenue, for example, and your consumer rating, and you will see where there is a certain concentration, what is the volume, also along with what is the percentage of consumer rating. So these bubbles can tell you some information about which product category is concentrated where. Bubble chart is also popularly used in depicting the sales data in FP&A in a map bubble map, where you know where your sales is coming from, what kind of sales is coming from X state and what kind of sales is coming from Y state. So that is where you can use a bubble chart as well. Or if you're a global business, then you can use bubble map to understand where your which geography is your sales and your development is concentrated in. Again, some do's and don'ts about bubble charts. As far as possible, don't try and use any fancy shapes like dollar bags or money bags or something. Yes, if you're in a pitch presentation, maybe you can use it. But for general business presentations, better to use a circular or a normal bubble for the bubble chart. Heat map is another chart which is used to understand the concentration of a certain category of sale or a certain product. And popularly, you will see heat map in the election, right? So you will see which party is winning from which side, and you will see green somewhere, you will see yellow somewhere. So that's where it gives you that information. The other very good example of heat map is used by marketers. They use heat map to understand your website better. Like when a certain visitor comes to your website, depending on where he's spending time on, what part is he reading more? Like, is he reading the left top corner, or is he reading the right top corner more? So wherever the concentration is happening, that gets captured through a heat map on your website. Basis that, marketers can take certain decisions. Let's say if right top corner is your most viewed and most popular corner on your website, then maybe you can place the next sales offer there. So this way, a heat map analysis is done by marketers to understand your website performance as well. Not really finance example, but that's where they are being used. In some do's and don'ts, what colors to use, what not to use. If there are like 20 different colors, then map will not be able to tell you any concrete information. But if there are 4 or 5 colors, then it can tell you some concentration when you're using a heat map. Some design do's and don'ts, these are all self-explanatory. You can go through this yourself, and we'll be sharing this full guide with you, and you can go through this entire guide. It will be available on the portal as well. And then you can download it, go through it yourself, try out a couple of charts yourself, and then see how and what chart is useful for you.